Good morning, everybody. It's Emily. I am back today, and we're going to do your advice, but we're actually going to do it for the new moon in Sagittarius, which started in my area around 2 a.m. this morning, which is December 7th of 2018. And I don't know what the cards are going to say yet, but I just know like the energy that I'm sort of receiving is really so all new moons are obviously new beginnings, but like this one really feels optimistic and this one really feels positive. And so I'm hoping that if we've been doing all the work that the advice readings have been giving this whole week, that we've cleared our energy enough that we can really take some steps, forward steps, into our next cycle of our lives, whatever that might be for you. It feels like super potent manifestation energy, and it feels like joy. There's a lot of joy that I'm feeling. It's almost like we release some stuff, and it's like the attachment to the things that were causing us a lot of anxiety we've released. And so stepping into this new cycle, there's just like a lot of really lighthearted energy, which is just amazing. And of course, that's Sagittarius for you, like there. That's a very energetic, lighthearted, fun, joyful energy. So let's do our best to allow that to flow through our lives right now. And quickly, the announcements that I keep making are that my readings can now be scheduled. My readings and healing sessions can now be scheduled on my website, which is redhoundreiki.com. And in addition, my rates will be going up after the first of the year, so please do take advantage of the old rates by scheduling now. I just ask that you schedule your session or reading before the end of February, okay? So that's pretty self-explanatory. Thank you all for subscribing and sharing and commenting. That means so much to me. I put so much time into doing these videos, and of course the time doesn't stop just after I record them. There's also a time for processing and uploading, and it just takes so much time, and I just really appreciate when you interact with me in that way, because it helps to reach more people, helps bring my healing work to more people, which is my purpose. So thank you so much. Okay, so let's just get going. I've written a few questions, and my first question is, what new beginning are we receiving with this new moon? And so I'm going to start with my deck of choice these days, the Victorian Romantic Tarot, the Russian version. I've already cleared all the cards of any residual energies that might be stuck on them from yesterday or any previous readings. Also cleared myself, my home, this the healing space here with my white sage and Palo Santo, just to give us a new beginning in our physical space for the reading today. So what new beginning are we receiving as a collective? What's our collective new beginning, please? That was quick. I feel like this is time to stop here. Okay, that's interesting. I'm sorry that I just went to another planet there. So the bottom of the deck is what I think is temperance. I have to be honest, I don't know this word in Russian. but from looking at the picture, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the Temperance card, which actually makes total sense to me because we've just been working. Number one, Temperance is the card for Sagittarius, and we are in the new moon in Sagittarius, also, of course, and we're also in Sagittarius season. So that makes a ton of sense, and I really do feel like we are all very subject to the energies that are happening right now, whether or not you don't need to believe in any of this in order to be affected by this. So that's what always shocks and amazes me. Like, our belief system is important, like that does attract in energies, but some energies are so big that they're going to affect us anyway. And I find that this is the case for people who, in divine timing, are supposed to receive activations and transitions and all kinds of different things at this time. Okay. It's a time of balancing. For me, I feel like this is the culmination of a sense of patience and like the merging of all kinds of energies that we have been working on balancing and clearing. So it's kind of a culmination of things, which makes sense. It's also the culmination of the year. It's December. We're working up to the Yule celebration or the winter solstice. So that's another kind of culmination. So this makes total sense to me. Also, I think it's interesting because our first column is the Page of Swords with the Page of Wands. And a couple days ago, we got the King of Swords with the King of Wands. And so I feel like, again, this is a new beginning, new energies coming in, but again, this is like a balancing of the head and the spirit. This is the bringing together of a mental energy with the spiritual energy and just kind of merging those two worlds. We'll look more at the heart coming up because so much of this week has been about the heart. This is really, I feel like a coming together of the thinking and the action space. There's going to be, I think, greater manifestation of the goals that we have. And it's going to be in a clearer fashion because we've cleared out some of the negative energy that we were holding in our hearts, which was like skewing our manifestations in the wrong direction. Because it was vibrating with that negative heart energy, the stuff, and that's not to say that the heart energy is negative, but the grief or the shame or the guilt that we were holding, that's where our manifestations were getting skewed toward. So we've cleared out a lot of that in the last few days to a week. And so this is like a new beginning, a different set of pathways for us to send our energy through unconsciously, of course, to manifest unconsciously or consciously our new beginning under this new moon. It's a new way of thinking. It's having cleared out some of the negative energy that was driving our thought patterns, and it's also a new way of being and existing and attracting an energy. So that is positive. Both of these pages can have sort of a negative connotation because we're talking about young, immature energy sometimes, and then we're talking about the thinking patterns and the energy patterns. So, there's a little bit of impulsivity that is associated with these two pages, possibly not thinking things through. If that resonates with you, then that's certainly something to look out for, but I'm asking about new beginnings, and so I feel like because we're talking about pages, the quote immature energy, it's because we're talking about beginning energy. And so I'm not feeling so much of that negative, bent toward these two cards today. I'm feeling just the beginning childlike energy coming through. And Sagittarius has a lot of childlike energy as well. They're very, not childish, but can be childlike. And yet they have this wisdom about them through their joyful behavior, because they're holding this kind of innocence in their way of interacting with the world. and yet through that innocence, a wisdom, which we'll talk about in a minute as well. So I feel like the key here is to release attachment, continue to release attachments to your thoughts and attachments that may be existing in your energy to receive this new beginning. But we have already done a lot of that work, and that is the new beginning we're receiving at this new moon. And it's just sort of going to bring forth so many new kinds of manifestations for us because we've cleared all the old shit out, or much of the old shit out. Next, I have the King of Cups with the it never fails. Somebody shows up in the middle of recording my readings and the dogs bark. Anyway, so we have the King of Cups with the Wheel of Fortune. And this shows me that we have really cleared so much of that heart energy. Like, by loving ourselves and allowing the love of ourselves to go into our heart space and clear out all of those blockages, the wheel has started to turn in the right direction. And the right direction being the one that is toward our highest and best good and is really manifesting positive stuff going forward. Hang on one second. Sorry about that. I had to go assertively suggest that the dogs be quiet. My house is also the office for my rescue. Right now, we're moving it out, but for right now, it's the office for the rescue, so there can be a lot of interruptions. In any case, we're talking about emotional mastery that we've come about through the work that we've just done, and that is really pushing us forward into a brand new beginning, a movement toward this new beginning that it's almost like was fated. Whatever's going on for you right now, the changes that are happening, they're fated events. They were supposed to happen. They were chosen by you either before you came into this lifetime, or, this is karma that you're clearing, or whatever it is, whatever your belief system is. That is what is taking place right now. So this is I'm hearing extremely important portal for us to pass through at this time in preparation for the 1221 portal. I don't know what that's going to mean, but that's what I just heard. So this is preparing you for the transition that we're going to make on 1221, which is the winter solstice. Okay? Shortest day of the year, Yule, all of those things line up at 1221. And so that must be an important doorway for us as well. So let's get ready to, wow, look at that sun. That's crazy. So anyway, let's get ready to walk right through that. And by accepting these fated changes, these fated new beginnings with joy and gratitude, and whatever they might be, you can't make this shit up. This is not an effect that I'm putting on my video right now. That's like legit what's coming through my window. This is a totally new beginning. A lot of you are hitting the starting of a cycle in your entire life. Like, this is a new life cycle for a lot of you. Not everybody, but for a lot of you, this is like the opening doorway of this next cycle, okay? And it's a big cycle. It's not just like, there are cycles within cycles, of course, and this could be a big one for some of you. What else am I hearing here? Just allow it. That's the important part here, is to allow it. And allow it emotionally to flow through. They're saying that you've cleared out a lot of the heart blockages, but the thing that's going to block you here, if anything, is if for some reason you decide to attach yourself to the old stuff and allow grief to, oh goodness, any kind of grief to affect the changeover, like the grief of leaving things behind. So you don't want to descend down into grief. You want to allow um, emotional energy to flow through you. You could feel grief. You should feel grief if it's coming up for you. Go ahead and feel it and let it pass through you, and release it. Okay, don't hold on to it. And that's a degree of emotional mastery. And if you allow that flow to continue, you're going to be able to effectively churn through and into this new cycle, which is so important for your development and growth right now. And this is the new cycle that you're moving into. These fated events, which are for your highest and best good, and toward your reaching or completing the goals that you may have set, manifestations, and that you may have intention that you may have set at the last full moon or the last new moon, even. And even fated events that you may not have been consciously aware of in this lifetime, but you set before coming into this lifetime. Wish I could fix that. I'm sorry, guys. Need water. Okay. Okay. The new energy coming in is extremely transformative, I'm hearing. Again, that's Sagittarius for you. Extremely transformative energy. And so we're getting the High Priestess with the Five of Cups. And I'm feeling like, it's hard to see with the way the light has just come in here, but I'm feeling like, first of all, there's a harvesting of the intentions that you've set in these last 3 months. So that's all coming to fruition, coming around to fruition. There's a continued releasing and transforming of grief, shame, sorrow, guilt, all of those things. Kind of like what I was talking about before. The key is just letting it pass through. That's very Sagittarian energy right there. Is like not gaining attachment, but allowing it to alchemize and allowing it to transmute through the higher mind, through the higher energies is kind of what I'm hearing. And like allowing it to really burn off through through, trying to describe what I'm seeing here. It's like it passes through you and it raises up through the higher mind into the ethers, into the higher dimensions. And once it gets there, it like dematerializes, it like burns off. And so that's how we're releasing our lower vibrational energy at this time. And just allow that to happen. It is hidden, still hidden within you in some places. It's underneath the surface, but it is going to continue. And I'm getting the message that you do not consciously need to work on this necessarily. You just need to set the intention of allowing. Okay? And that's in itself is a new beginning, because in the past we've had to consciously pinpoint and work on this stuff. But now at this time you're able to set the intention of allowing, and that it will unconsciously be able to release. And so that in itself is a strong forward movement in the timelines. Okay, you're jumping timelines at this time. The biggest message I'm getting here is really a harvesting of all of the intentions set, all of those unconscious not unconscious, but all of those intentions that were set and then sort of set aside, programmed into our subconscious, they're all coming to light now. So hopefully those are all positive ones. If they were negative, there's an opportunity for them to be clearing at this time, and new growth beginning. Even though it's a harvest time here, there is some new growth that is happening on the physical plane and the physical earth. So you're going to experience that in your physical reality, whether it be through abundance, through monetary income or job, and I'm getting for some of you, this is going to be romance related. This is new relationships, new growth in relationships, even as the ending of an older relationship is sort of in its autumn, moving to winter. So that's happening. Is sort of, and this again is a fated cycle in whatever area of your life that this is to come up in. Goodness. Oh my. Okay, that's a little clearer. Just really getting a strong feeling of cycles beginning and ending right now, which makes sense. It's a new moon. So many energies are being combined and balanced within you at this time. Some of the struggles are ceasing, is what I just heard. Struggles are ceasing. Energies are balancing. New beginnings are happening because of the new energy that is bringing forth the new beginnings. This is a huge message for divine compliments, because this is happening within each one of you right now. The masculine energies that were experiencing so much turmoil and so much resetting in the last, 3 months to 3 weeks to 3 days. It's like there's a cycle of 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days. Each one of those was a cycle within the cycles. Primarily your masculine side, which is your right side, was going through that shift in balance on all levels. So whether it be like on an energetic level, maybe physical issues coming up on your right side, and talking like outside of your own body, the masculine half of the divine partnership was going through all this stuff. 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days of transitions. So that is cycling through whatever it is that they were cycling through. Everybody's going to be different. And it's going to apply to each person because of our, masculine half, but it also is going to apply to the masculine people in the collective. People holding the masculine energy, I should say. It does not matter necessarily if you're a male or female. You could be a female holding the masculine energy, okay? So, got myself off track. What else was coming through there in regards to the Sagittarius energy? The balancing, the alchemizing, the new beginning to the cycle, the new energy causing the attraction in of a new kind of energy in your life. So therefore the new beginnings. I'm seeing Capricorn coming in here too. So there's something significant coming up, new beginning coming up for someone with a Capricorn. Or it is that the Sagittarian energy is about to pour into the Capricorn energy, and so your new beginnings in the physical are beginning now, but may truly come into fruition once we hit the Capricorn energy, which will be at the 1221 portal. Interesting, because that just came up. I'm just like channeling this through. I don't know anything about this stuff, so you might be able to look it up with somebody who has a clue, because I don't necessarily. I'm just passing on the information. Yeah, I'm feeling a grounding in the physical that takes place after 1221 or at 1221, of the things that are starting now today with the new moon. Flowering. There's flowering of actually a lot of romantic stuff. People in the romance sector, that's all flowering out right now. I'm also seeing a cornucopia, so that's the abundance that's flowering at this time. Okay, so I've gone far enough with that. I have a couple more questions to ask. So those are your new beginnings that are coming in with this new moon. Hope that part resonated with some of you guys. Okay, next, what message does Sagittarius have for us? And that's just the energy of Sagittarius. We kind of got some of that with this last part of the reading, but let's just ask again and see. So I'm going to shuffle this other deck. This is the Tarot of the Illuminati. This is one of my other favorite decks. It's just freaking gorgeous. I don't know if you'll be able to see the pictures too well because of the way the lighting has started to come in my window, but we'll see. What message does Sagittarius have for us? So we're just going to pull 3 cards for this so that I don't make this another hour-long reading, which is what I did yesterday. Oops. What message does Sagittarius have for us? Let's just go with jumpers on this. Oop, okay. And 3 cards. Okay, so we have the 10 of Wands with the Prince of Swords coming out a second time and the 4 of Swords. Okay, so I'm getting that this is a renewal energy, renewal coming through this rest period. And I feel like it's a, this is going to be a very swift jump forward. If you engage your mental processes in a useful way, you will really get this swift jump forward. And by mental processes, I mean very clearly setting the intention today of what you want to be accomplishing, or what you want to be receiving in through this next new cycle. And then there's the surrender to that, surrendering to what it is that you, what it is that you're intending through this next cycle, and just letting it be. Surrender and let it be. These are somewhat opposing energies that are coming up here, which is interesting because in the last reading we got that that alchemizing of opposites, right? So this is a surrendering at the same time as jumping forward purposefully. And I'm kind of getting, looking at this, even though Sagittarius is a fire sign, I'm getting, first of all, that this is the Sagittarian energy right now. And so that it is this very swift forward movement of conquest at this time. And there's all these birds in the background. So I feel like there's this renewal, regeneration of that kind of energy that we're all sort of cycling through. And that we need to very purposefully set those intentions and then again release them to the universe in order, and let them be, in order to see them come to fruition and ground in the physical, in that 1221 gateway, that or portal that I was just talking about. This is allowing, like a lot of times when you see this card, you know, there's a caution there. But I feel like at this time, this is more allowing this forward energy, surrendering to it, and allowing this like huge leap forward, potentially into the unknown, and potentially into a place that is outside of our usual comfort zone. And that's okay. That's okay. There is a bit of a caution there. Like, you obviously want to not try to grab on with your mind to the things, to the intentions that you're setting. You need to let them go, let them be, and let the universe do its work. Surrender to it, but also surrender into this energy here of just fast forward movement and fast. What's the word I'm looking for? Profound clarity in your choices to allow the forward movement, okay? That's the message of Sagittarius right now. Profound clarity and surrender into this new beginning. The last question here is, what's our advice for the rest of the cycle? Whatever this cycle is, and I have a feeling it's going to be up until the end of Sagittarius season, which is the beginning of Capricorn season, which is 12/21-ish. Some of those things transition on 12/23. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I am not an astrologer, so I don't always know those things, but I feel like that is the cycle we're talking about, up to 12/21, okay? So what is our advice for the rest of this cycle, whatever that may be? And I'm going to pull a few oracle cards. I'm going to take one from the I always want to say Shine Your Light Oracle. I don't think that's what it is. What's our advice for the rest of the cycle? I'm going to pull from a few different decks here. What's the advice for the rest of this cycle, whatever that may be for you? Huh. Okay, that makes sense. All right, let me get a couple more cards. This is just a chunk of the cards of a whole bunch of Doreen Virtue decks put together. Well, do I want to shuffle? No, instead of shuffling, I'm going to actually lay these out in a fan and choose 3 more I'm hearing. So here's one. What is our advice for the rest of this cycle, whatever that may be? 2, 3. Okay. To start with this card, because it relates so well to what just came through. And it says, Oceana, take action. You're in touch with your truth in this situation, and you need to trust your gut and lovingly assert yourself. And to me, that is, again, about allowing that forward motion, allowing that to move you in the right direction, a positive direction toward your highest and best good. So that is like surrendering to your highest and best good, right? And stop trying to control what that is. Allow the universe to align you to what that is. And there's a profound alignment that needs to happen with your higher power in order to get there, okay? So surrendering to it, as we talked about in the last section, is the important piece. So allow that action to take place by surrendering to it. Don't back down, Bridget. Stand up for what you believe is right. And so to me, that kind of goes along with the same kind of energy of taking action where you know it needs to be taken, allowing the action where you know it needs to be taken. Don't try to block it in order to hold on to something new. Don't back down away from what you know in your heart is the right thing. So surrender to the turning of that wheel, the turning of the wheel of fortune, the fated events. Allow them to happen. That's going to be your advice for moving forward in the rest of this chapter, this cycle. Opportunity to forgive came up. This situation brings you the opportunity to heal, grow, and release negative patterns. Hold the intention of seeing the other person's inner divine light and goodness. We will help you release unforgiving thoughts, feelings, and energies, and lift you to a higher place of peace and compassion. And that fits so well with the idea that we're still releasing some of that stuff, and yet it's kind of automatic because we've set the intention. And the intention here is to ask the angels, archangels, your highest, guidance, your light beings, your higher power, to assist in, to assist in making that possible, and to assist in making that happen on an unconscious level, to surrendering, to allowing your divine connection, or your higher power, to orchestrating that for you. And so you need to ask and allow for that to happen. If you do not do both of those things, this can't take place because of your free will. You have free will to either sit in your own misery or to accept the things moving forward. In general, some events are fated and set before before you come into this incarnation, and so therefore some of them are going to happen no matter what you do, which we've talked about. However, we want you to set that intention. The next card that came up is yes. Just say yes. And so I feel like that fits in really well with this, and this sort of asking and allowing your higher power to take an active role in allowing the healing to continue on an unconscious level, so that you are turning so swiftly and so what's the word I'm looking for? Not consciously, but so intentionally, with your higher purpose and your highest and best good, okay? And finally, this is so important, and this is like Sagittarius to a T. Don't dim to fit in. How are you dimming your light in order to fit in? So be like Sagittarius. Be an individual. Be joyful. Don't dim your light in order to fit in. And I found myself having this conversation with myself the other day, like, I'm not gonna tone myself down to make other people feel more comfortable, because bumping up against people's discomforts, honestly, them bumping up against their discomforts is healing. That's healing energy in itself. That's allowing you to look at the places or allowing those people to look at the places where they're uncomfortable with themselves, because you're pointing the way to that, right? In addition, every person is an individual, and in order to reach your highest potential or to live your highest and best good, you should not divert yourself, dim yourself into conforming in any way to what other people want of you. Do not conform. That's not in your highest and best good. You'll know in your heart what's in your highest and best good, okay? It's kind of like, don't back down. Don't dim your light. Know in your heart what's in your highest and best good, and that is where you're going now. No more bullshit. No more beating around the bush. Like, it's time. And that's where we're going in this next cycle. That's what's beginning now, today, okay? I hope this is helpful for you guys. I so appreciate you. I'm sorry that I had to stop the video for a second. Sorry about this crazy lighting. I really enjoy doing these readings, so please like, comment, subscribe, share. That means so much to me, because it shows me that what I'm doing matters to you, and I really appreciate all of you so much. Okay, much love, so much healing to you, and best of luck today. It's going to be a great one. I think there's a lot of breakthroughs coming. Okay, love you guys. Bye.